Alright guys, it's Charlie Tango 1994 back with another YouTube video. When I mention that one of my hobbies is CB radio, I often get a funny look or comments about it, and I often concede that in the connected world of the 21st century, the attraction of two-way radio may seem a little outdated. With news reaching these shores of Hurricane Irma, and more alarmingly the events in North Korea, it does make me wonder about what happens to a world faced with such crises. In the modern world, we live a comfortable life, surrounded by our electronic devices and all kinds of services available at the flick of a switch. But what happens if we were suddenly cut off from these seemingly basic amenities? When a hurricane hits, or worse still, a bomb was to be dropped, how would we cope? What essentials would we wish we had at hand? And how would we be able to communicate with our loved ones and friends to check they were okay? If our mobile phones stopped working, how would we get the latest weather reports or news? In these types of situations, that's exactly what happens. Mobile signals would fail since the radio towers needed to service them would be affected. Electricity would be cut off, especially if water levels rise, and our ability to connect with the outside world would be terminated. We've seen in previous crises how the ability of ham radio enthusiasts to remain in contact has helped to get important information between victims and the emergency services, and how up-to-date reports can be sent to different locations in such an event. So faced with a situation where you have no power, no running water, no internet and no mobile signal, what would you do? Preppers around the world have talked for years about the benefits of short-range radios in their arsenal of tools to help people overcome the collapse of society. And when headlines such as we have seen in the news this week rage across the world, does it not make you think twice about how you would cope? How could you protect your family? How could you get access to appropriate resources like food and drinking water? So before you scoff at that trusty old CB radio, first understand that that cheap old rig that you have stuffed in your loft and probably has not seen daylight in over 30 years, could be one of the most valuable tools in your fight to stay alive in such a situation. So either you can't get phone reception, or after a prolonged period your phone battery dies. If you have access to a car battery, you could have the means to power a radio. If you're able to run the car to keep the battery topped up, then you could last for days, or possibly weeks. The most modern radios come with a full range of weather stations, pre-programmed, so even if you can't turn on the TV to see what's coming, you would still have some way of knowing if your situation was likely to improve or worsen by listening to the weather reports. If you need to evacuate an area, either prior to or after such a disaster, the CB radio is portable enough that you can carry it with you, and especially when driving, could remain in contact with others whilst on the move. And then when you're at a safe distance, could set up a station as a base and continue to monitor the airwaves. Preppers globally preach the rule of 3, or the 333 radio rule. So if ever faced with this kind of crisis, where you have access to a CB radio, you may need to know this. They say you should go to channel 3 and monitor and call on the channel for 3 minutes every 3 hours. This will be your best chance of making contact with others who are following the same protocol. Where you have limited access to the ability to charge your battery, you should switch off your radio when not being used to save the battery life. Whilst you may consider this could never happen to you, this could be a serious matter, and you may want to consider developing more knowledge about how to be better prepared for the future. For more information, click the link in the video description below.